Welcome back to Arts Weekly. Joining me is Jim Sparrow, Executive Director from Arts United of Greater Fort Wayne. Good to see you, Jim.
Thanks for having me.
So what new is going on at Arts United?
Well, probably the most visible piece of new product or excitement is the new building on Main Street. We recently purchased the former Fourth Wave building and hope to make it into an arts and cultural center, and people begin to see that this spring.
Right, and that's directly across from the Arts United Center. What's the address?
It's 303 East Main.
303 East Main. We have some pictures actually up on the screen of it, but tell us some of the things that you're going to be, what will this building allow Arts United to do?
Well, over 50 years ago, the concept by the founders of Arts United of Greater Fort Wayne was to create a downtown arts destination, bringing all of the arts and cultural institutions at that time together. For the benefit, the same as you would have in a university, lots of different types of pieces moving and types of people around. This building allows us to bring more of those arts groups downtown to sort of build a critical mass. Mm-hmm. The Art Museum expansion is a good start. The Arts Center, in terms of its activities and performances, this will allow us to bring the ballet down, to have classrooms, more gallery space, maybe some other opportunities that we wouldn't have without this type of space, but it's going to bring great visibility and energy.
Right, it's going to bring more arts downtown.
More arts downtown, and that critical mass, I think, is really the key to begin to see some of the glue and the other pieces that I think I would like, and many people, I know you would as well, in terms of galleries and retail and energy that goes beyond just the performances, but sort of makes it feel like an arts neighborhood.
Yeah, it makes it seem like a way of life. Like, along that train of thought, back in June, a group of business and community leaders, yourself included, formed a task force, if you will, called Northeast Indiana Vision 2020 to really try to envision what our community, our region will look like by the year 2020. A strong component of that is the quality of life issues that, of course, include culture and the arts. Right. Tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing with Vision 2020. What is the vision for arts and culture in our community, and what will be another 9 years? Well,
quickly, the Vision 2020 concept is to sort of holistically look at the community and decide what pieces of the community need to look like, whether it's infrastructure, building a creative class to segment and begin to grow those who are coming out of the universities and staying here and making their life here, but also the quality of life element, which is essential to making a community really feel like a place people want to be. Actively, we're involved now in putting together smaller groups to look at the projects and the steps necessary to see action. The quality of life pillar, as we're being described, is really looking at those cross sections of the community that people have talked about for years, whether it's river development, public art project, galleries downtown, a variety of other things. So it's not just arts, it's really about creating a place where people want to be and are excited about.
So it's been about 6 months, and if you guys come up with any good ideas, I know you might not be able to tell us everything, but generally speaking.
Well, we're moving quickly, and I'm very excited by the group that we're working with now, because we are working towards more of a common vision focused on a project or two. Very visible, will be the type of synergy necessary for the community to see that we are going to begin to move forward with some of these types of activities, and community working together. So the pledge was, well, once we come up with this series of projects, that we would begin to work together to make sure that would happen, and that's exciting in itself.
Indeed. One question many people ask is, why is it even necessary? Why do we need to plan for the future? Why aren't things good enough as they are now? I mean, a lot of people are very happy in Fort Wayne, just as things are now. Why do we need to envision the future any differently than it is now?
Well, I do think we have a great community. There are a lot of wonderful things about the greater Fort Wayne, Northeast Indiana area, but we can be so much more. And sometimes I think we do a disservice to ourselves by selling ourselves way too short, so that the rest of the region, the rest of the country, doesn't understand what's here. Taking that a step further, what we can potentially be. We have a very scalable downtown. It's compact. It has many anchors that are of interest, whether it's the library, the arts facilities, and a variety of other pieces. Adding to that a sense of activity all the time through bars and restaurants and galleries and small retail really begins to make it feel like a neighborhood. And I think any time you want to live in any environment. It really is about people. This is also something that I think generates new interest and new activity from young and old alike, and I think that's why it's really critical.
Just last week, I was downtown, the Downtown Improvement District, organized an event called Drop Your Avant-Garde, and it was amazing. It was cold out,
Right.
but there were thousands of people walking around downtown, the inner core of the city, with really nothing more to do than visit certain galleries and restaurants and just walk around. I thought it really showed me a vision of what I think Fort Wayne could be on a regular basis.
Well, I agree. I think the Drop Your Avant-Garde events are fantastic because they're minimal expense, and it's really focused about creating your own event by going down and being part of something. Really just spending a Saturday night or a Sunday afternoon and spending time with people and looking at art and having something to drink or to eat. That's really, I think, at the core of the vision that we're trying to push forward with Vision 2020, and one that I think at Arts United we've embraced. It creates an environment for innovative, creative people, and when you get innovative, creative people in an environment, good things happen.
It's funny because I talk to people from all walks of life, all different political persuasions and beliefs, and I haven't found one person really that says, you know what, I don't want a more dynamic downtown.
Right.
I think people, even if you have a family and you want to walk your kid down on a hot Saturday night and get an ice cream cone, or if you're a young person that's not married yet and you want to go have a drink at a bar and meet somebody or just socialize with people, is a better way to put it. There's nobody that doesn't want a center to their community. I think it's important to everybody, and the arts, I believe, have a really central role in helping to make that happen.
No, I agree, and I think when you talk about downtown and the arts, every community has an identity, and the easiest piece to identify is someone's downtown. Whether that's something people like or not, that really is a beginning of a community's identity, and it radiates out, which is good for the region. A strong core will be good for the region.
So in a sense, is that why Arts United has decided to expand its facilities downtown? I mean, it's going to be a major impetus to cultural growth down there.
Well, I think that's a large part of it. It's both sort of an investment long-term in downtown because of that identity piece I talked about, but also the visibility. People do see things downtown as being the showpieces in your living room, so to speak. That's also a major, as you described it, impetus. We'd also like to see this be the catalyst for the development we've already talked about. Without these anchors, I think it becomes much harder to convince people to begin to invest in small business.
Right, and that's the key, is really having more businesses open up down there. Parking is free.
Right.
After 5 o'clock, I believe it is. I mean, I've never had a problem finding parking down there.
Well, with the exception of some event parking, there's a tremendous amount of parking, and that's one of those misnomers that it's difficult to park downtown. There are periods of time where you may have to drive around the block, but there's plenty of parking.
Can you remind our viewers just one more time, Jim, exactly what Arts United does, what Arts United is?
Well, it's a United Arts Fund and an Arts Council. It's sort of like an Oreo. It's both sides of that. It raises funds through an annual fund drive, much like United Way, that's then used to support groups and projects and a variety of things. And then we also are an Arts Council, or an advocacy group that works on things such as business services for the arts, facilities, advocacy, community projects, and being a forum for things such as a discussion about public art or gallery development. Trying to be that central point of contact so that interested parties can get together and begin to make things happen in the arts.
Indeed, the both of us were recently involved in trying to develop, and we are developing a cultural district here in downtown Fort Wayne, where we're going to have different businesses and cultural and art groups come together with mutual interest to develop things. And I think that Arts United, being the center of all that, has been able to make that happen. But there's one thing in particular that I know that you're working on, and that's public art, a public art initiative. What is public art, and why is it a good thing to have?
Well, I think public art, when you deal with walking around spaces or driving through spaces, especially in a downtown area, seeing art, whether it's murals or sculpture, says that the community is a creative place. It's interested in dialogue. We're trying to begin to structure and formalize a process that allows for ongoing public art, some of it temporary, some of it long-term, but beginning to see the opportunity for art to be developed, encourage artists both locally and nationally to be a part of this, and begin to create an environment where it can be fostered and maintained and enjoyed.
Now, When we talk about public art, developing downtowns, using the arts and culture as a catalyst for economic growth, is this something that we're just making up on our own here in Fort Wayne, or are other communities doing this around the country?
No, I think sometimes it's been hard to describe in terms of measurement. But when you look at other communities who've used these tools, whether it's Grand Rapids or Asheville, North Carolina, or Greenville, South Carolina, Providence, Rhode Island, all of them have done it a little bit differently, but they've all understood that that creative environment is really essential with people to begin to develop a vibrant core. The arts have been central because they don't require a lot of investment, small arts, specifically galleries and other things, and they are very welcoming. All types of people, as you mentioned earlier, whether you're different political persuasions, different ethnicities, all kinds of things. The arts are a creative anchor that help all those people.
The arts truly can unite us, as Arts United States.
Very true.
Jim, that's all the time we have. I wish you the best with all these things. You're doing great work here in Fort Wayne.
Thank you.
For more information about Arts United, you can visit artsunited.org or call 424-2783. Arts Weekly can be seen Tuesday through Thursday on College Access Television, as well as Twitter and Facebook. I'm Chuck O'Connor. Thanks for tuning into Arts Weekly. Join me next week with guest Jeff Kazaza from the IPFW Department of Theater and Omowale Ketu Oladuwa, Executive Director from the Three Rivers Institute of African Art and Culture.